and the mood that it elicits. It's a lot of fun for a lot of reasons, but namely that we get to do some good things. We get to do some good things with great people, people in this community, and then the Jeff Cameron Show community, the Warchant community, Tallahassee. You guys have always stepped up, and it's the time of year where it really shows. We have our bowling tournament tonight. District 850 should be a blast as we have the opportunity to bring in toys for those that are less fortunate, as well as gift cards. It's the Jeff Cameron Show Holiday Bowling Tournament we've been doing for well over a decade now. It's tonight at 7 o'clock, and it's to benefit the kids of the Guardian Ad Litem. These are kids that have had a tough go, had a tough life, and they're certainly in line to have a very tough Christmas. But thanks to you guys every year, we're able to try to help out as best we can. It certainly perhaps provides a moment of joy for some of these kids. So a couple of things to note here. First of all, if you didn't get a team in and you're not bowling with us tonight, it doesn't mean you can't swing on past District 850 today, this afternoon, whenever, right now, if you're listening to me. You can. Just bring an a wrapped toy, something that you get for a boy or a girl or both, and drop it on by, or gift cards. They really have made a push in the last several years for gift cards. And I actually think that's kind of easier for you guys too, for everybody involved, because they've got kids of all ages. You got some 16-year-old kids and 17-year-old kids and 15-year-old kids who probably don't want a Barbie doll or a Nerf football. So it's an opportunity to give them a gift card. It could be to anywhere, whatever you want to do, Best Buy, Target, whatever. Everything is appreciated. I just want you to know that. And you can drop that by as well. We'll be bowling tonight at 7 o'clock. Now, the other aspect of this is that there's an opportunity to, I think, later in the week, we're going to do something like we've done on this channel before, where we've invited you guys to guys in the chat, or people listening. We'll give you a link where you can donate to the folks at the Guardian Ad Litem of the Big Ben. And all the money directly goes to them. It's directly deposited, 100%. Nothing goes to me or Tom or anybody here at Warchant, nobody at 93.3. Nothing goes to YouTube or anything like that, or Google. No, it just goes to the charity. So lots of ways to help out, and this the most festive time of year. It's a really busy time of year these days as well, because, you're in the midst now as we wind down. First of all, it's always fun in the weekend that was to watch that Army-Navy game. Never seems to disappoint. Always puts a smile on my face when I watch it. Invariably, you catch yourself in the fourth quarter of an intense game, and you're watching this thing going, again? This is going to happen again in this game. This is going to come down to like the last series or the last play again. But it's just a reminder how awesome that event is, how awesome that game is. And we got another classic, an all-timer. And Army wins it on a goal line stand. A lot of fun to watch there. Interesting for the sporting guys and gals amongst us who were watching that game, looking at totals and spreads and a safety and weird things. And what's going to happen here? So good times. And then, now we move forward, and all of our attention is 100% on what's going to happen in recruiting. And, we have all the transfer portal information, Florida State closing in on trying to wrap up what will be an elite class. All right. And the full push was on this weekend. Jeremiah Smith, the number one receiver in the country, the number one recruit in the country, verbally committed to Ohio State, on campus this past weekend, and was here obviously because Florida State got the last visit, and that is a big deal typically if you can make it happen. There have been rumors for weeks now about what was possible. I've addressed some of that. But we know Jeremiah had a great weekend here, connecting a lot with players, Edwin Joseph, Keon Coleman, and they tried to utilize, according to Michael Langston at warchant.com, they really tried to utilize the opportunity to have Jeremiah interacting with players, lots of players, and to try to give the player, in this case, Jeremiah Smith, a sense of what a day is like for a Florida State football player, what's expected of you, the way it's structured, the interaction with your teammates, all of the things that we've talked about on this show for a very long time that has made this an attractive place for, I think, both transfer portal players, but also now, obviously, incoming recruits out of the high school ranks. It is a big deal to be able to get them a taste, a feel for what that is, because the number one reason that Florida State continues to be an elite destination right now has been the total flip of the culture flip, which is what led to, obviously, wins on the field. Now, you got to bring in talent, but you got to do it simultaneous to finding the right kinds of guys that help illuminate the culture you're creating or that you want. And it's a hard thing to do. You got to find a player. He's got to be a difference maker. Got to find a guy that's going to change the scoreboard, change the game in your favor, while also making sure that they fit in the culture that you've created. You know, there was toxicity here 4 years ago, and they've moved away from that to the point now where we just make assumptions about where Florida State's at, right? About how guys will act, how guys will work, how guys will dedicate themselves to the plan, and they'll work that plan. And they'll dedicate themselves not only to Mike Norvell and what he's teaching them and what he's espousing, but also dedicate themselves to bettering their opportunities. And all the while, that bonds you with the guy next to you doing the exact same thing. And then voila, a culture is created. And it sounds easy, but it's not easy. It's never easy. And they've been able to do that. And so getting Jeremiah Smith in here again and letting him get a feel for that, right? Having him come in a time where there are players around to talk with him and to let him see that, right? To feel that, to talk about what that's like. You know, I think it's huge that when you have, I remember when Mike got the job, we've talked about this a lot, and you never know what's going to be real and what are just platitudes, coaches just saying what they think they have to say. It's not until you get into these camps and you've been a part of several of them where you're, you know, in my case, you're at these practices or you're conducting these interviews and you watch these practices and you see the way the players interact and then you see what the coaches do. And if there's a consistency there, all of that stuff, you don't really know how it's going to go. But I remember way back, I'll circle back to this now. When Mike got the job, when he first addressed the press, he basically said, look, you know, within reason, I want all of you guys there. I'm proud of what we're going to build. I'm proud of the way we go about it, and I want it documented. Because if you document it, a couple things happen. My players get their just due. You'll talk about them because they're the ones putting in the hard work. They're the ones committing. They're the ones saying yes and moving forth, taking that leap of faith. And as they succeed, and he believes they certainly will, you guys will be there to write those stories, to tell those stories on the air, and that shines a light on their successes, and I want my players to get the credit. But he's not dumb. He understands, too, that it's a PR boon, that then the coaches look good, and they, too, get illuminated along with their players. But what I've noticed is that along the way, while all of this was happening, that players from outside the program we're beginning to hear about this, see this, and think about joining something like this. And so we just wondered, okay, this is going to work in the portal. Is it going to work with a high school class? Well, Jeremiah Smith would go a long way if you could find a way to flip that kid to come to Tallahassee in further solidifying where Florida State's at, both in the high school ranks, the portal ranks, the culture, all of it. It would just continue to add to what's been an incredible run that has been obviously well documented and well covered. So we'll see. We don't have much longer to wait. Next up, people will look at LJ McCray. Of course, is a verbal UF commitment. Visiting FSU this weekend, going to visit Auburn as well. I don't think it looks good for Florida when a big-time recruit is out there visiting other places. Golly, one thing that stands out, if you guys saw that picture of him and Jared Verse, LJ McCray is a big man. I mean, Jared Verse is huge. And you're sitting there looking at that picture of LJ McCray, and you're thinking, well, sweet Jesus. I mean, he's got to be every bit 6'6", 6'7". Monster of a man. Wonder what he weighs by the time he's done playing football, just as an aside. Like, you look at that frame and you realize how much bigger that kid can get. He's going to be massive before it's all said and done. Let me give you an overall assessment of kind of both recruiting and the portal. And, Florida State's in a unique position right now. Because one of the things that we're seeing is that Florida State no longer has to jump at every opportunity they see. They no longer have to kind of sit back and say, all right, well, that's a talented plus player. We got to say yes to him. Now they actually, not only do they not have to do that, they got to be careful not to do it. Florida State, and I can tell you from talking to people behind the scenes yesterday and on Saturday, really is going to have an opportunity, not the pick of the litter, because you're still competing with the best of the best, the Alabamas and obviously the Georgias, and, you're competing with your rivals in state. You're doing all those things. You're still going to have to outduel an Auburn, for example. Auburn, who a year ago showed they were desperate, were willing to, quote unquote, spend, had some money to throw at the problem, if you will. So there's still some of that out there. But if you look at it, again, I think Florida State can kind of, all right, well, there are defensive ends that have kind of proclaimed their interest publicly, and those that have done so privately. And that's the second part that I find interesting, is we're starting to hear a lot of that, okay, you know what? I don't want to make a lot of noise on social media, but I'm kind of interested in you. Would you be interested in me if I were to enter the portal? And these are, from what I'm told, big-time players. In some cases, these are names players at a Ohio State or an Oklahoma or a Michigan or a Southern Cal or a Texas or whatever, right? You're going to sit back and you've got a lot of guys. The game is shifting. The way the game is being played now has changed. The market is forever changing. I'll tell you this, the market is plummeting for the cost of a defensive end, if you will, because there are a lot of them out there. There's a plethora of players to choose from. So guys that think they're going to get $800,000 to $1 million or $700,000, man, no. I mean, you might get one program that feels like they have to make a splash, throw a lot of money at a kid in order to secure his services. But Florida State and a lot of the other organizations associated with collectives across the country that have it buttoned up and know what they're doing are not allowing a kid to reset the market. So that market cost for those kinds of players at a certain position are plummeting in some ways. It's kind of sit back and let's see what we have. It's not do nothing. It's certainly be aggressive behind the scenes and understand the landscape. But that landscape has opened up tremendously for Florida State because of the success on the field, the reputation of the culture I just described that's been well documented, the wins, let's not forget the wins, there's a ton of them, and what they think Florida State's going to be moving forward. KJ Bolden to get an in-home visit from Mike and then an on-campus visit, which is the last official visit for him. That'll give opportunities to guys that are already part of this class, say like Lester, to talk to him and say, hey, let's do this thing. What are we doing here? I get it. You've got that chance now to maybe make that final splash. So it's a busy but fun time because you keep hearing about this name, and they're all associated in some way, maybe not always the leader, in some way with Florida State. And Mike and his staff have to be unbelievably busy. Heisman was handed out over the weekend. Jaden Daniels win it. I got no problem with that. Jordan Travis finishes 5th in the voting. Surprising, given that he was clearly the most important quarterback to ever play college football. Congrats to Jordan Travis. Can you imagine, though, someday you sit back and realize, man, I was in top 5 Heisman voting. That's going to be an amazing feeling. Congrats to him. Obviously, little sarcasm from me regarding what the committee did. And to speak of which, a story in a moment, I don't think they realize how ugly this is, the damage that was done, and won't soon be forgotten. 9 months from right now ain't that far. And that will be an interesting conversation and moment in time, depending on how this is set up. I'll tell you what I'm talking about in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Warchant TV.
The perfect gift under the tree this year is a new spa or hot tub from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. There's nothing like resting your jolly old soul in the spa after a long, stressful day. And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Heat up your holiday with the end-of-year sale going on now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. During the month of December, go to our new website, TallahasseeHotSpring.com, and fill out the contact form to receive an instant $1,000 off coupon towards the purchase of a Hot Springs hot tub. Get in touch now before this deal ends. Also, take advantage of up to $6,200 off select High Life models. And get a free accessory with purchase of your new Hot Springs spa with affordable financing for qualified buyers. Come see Cameron. Visit TallahasseeHotSpring.com or check us out on Facebook or Instagram. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com. Coupon cannot be combined with any other offer. Come see us for the end-of-year sale. Happy holidays.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director. The nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
Hello, I'm Dana Brooks.
And I'm Jimmy Basic.
Traffic cameras are everywhere, providing valuable evidence if you've been in an accident.
But if you can't access that evidence, it could just be your word against theirs.
Basic Brooks is partnered with Roadproof to have access to all their traffic camera footage. If you've been hurt in an accident, give us a call and we'll find out if the proof you need is out there.
Let us find your video evidence so you can come back stronger. Call us now at 850-777-7777.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. By science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.
ends up that way. In fact, I think when I had the lowest expectations to perform well, I ended up with my highest score. So we'll see. I don't know. Just let's crack 140 and be done with it tonight. Make sure some kids get some toys. We all have a good time. I'm not out here trying to pretend I'm going to roll a 230. If it happens, it happens. Oh, you'll hear about it. You'll hear about it if it happens. But yeah. So did we all just roll our eyes when the announcement was made by College Game Day that they would be heading to Dublin? I chuckled aloud. There had been rumors that was something that might happen. And, yeah, here we go. They're noting that, of course, its first college campus ever visited was on November the 13th, 1993. I remember it well when Florida State met number 2 Notre Dame in South Bend. That was over 3 decades ago. And they'll point out to you that they visit 101 cities, 39 states, 81 schools, and it's a massive show, etc. But now they're taking it on the road. And it will mark the 35th appearance on College Game Day for Florida State. How about that, everybody? Yeah. Celebrate. First since 2020. Georgia Tech will be making their 6th appearance. And the whole time that I was reading the public relations memo and listening to the talking points, I thought, man, have you guys thought this through? That's not going to go well.
Have you gauged the room at all?
Yeah, I don't think this is going to go well. Now, look, I would never advocate for violence in this situation, but I do think that could be like a very long campaign that features an awful lot of needed to be censored chants. Like the signs. Can you imagine these signs? How many pictures of Herb Street as a clown are we going to see in the backdrop? How many chants of F Herb Street or Reese Davis or whomever? I mean, like how many? This is just one prolonged FU. Think about the people going to that game. That's going to be a majority Florida State crowd. If you're seriously now, if you're Herb Street, do you bring like most of the time when these events occur, especially when you're going to a place that you don't normally get to go to, if it's a big to do, you're not going to James Madison, you're going to Dublin. Nothing against the fine folks there at the school, James Madison. But I'm saying Florida State fans are going to travel. And they're going to be festive, and it's going to be a lively bunch. And 9 months is not enough time for people to forget about what just took place with the repetitive narrative that was forged over the course of weeks, which led to the ultimate snub that many in this community and the Florida State community still feel the same as they did last Sunday or a week ago Sunday. It's not going away. I mean, the level of vitriol and disdain and outright hatred may dissipate to some degree 9 months from now, but nobody's going to miss the opportunity when given the opportunity to say F you to College Game Day and ESPN after what just transpired. And, I think the other part of this that they're miscalculating, and I get sent all of these things. I see some, but I roll my eyes and I flip the channel because I can't do it. But, they've engaged since in sort of this campaign to try to invoke pity. Well, you don't understand. We feel terrible. We feel terrible what happened it's just awful what happened to Florida State. You don't understand, guys. You think that we conspired against you and convinced the playoff committee, who didn't know any better, but then listened to us repeatedly state over and over and over again how it is Florida State ought not get in even if they go undefeated. We didn't we have no real say in how they're going to vote. Now, just understand that. We're not in the room. And also, we just thought Alabama was better, and you got to understand that the whole system is kind of screwed up the way it's set up. Somebody was bound to get screwed. It just happened to be you guys. And don't you understand? We're so sorry that happened. I mean, I know I can sense your anger, Florida State fans. I see it in my emails and in my mentions on Twitter and social media, and we've really here at ESPN felt the blowback from the narrative that many of you guys think that we intentionally crafted in order to keep Florida State out of the college football playoff. But understand this, we didn't sleep at night. We felt terrible about it. Yeah, don't do that. It's insulting. Not only did you screw us, but then you're playing us for stupid. Don't do that. You did what you did. Move along. We get it. Got it. It's an invitational. We were not invited. You needed your SEC to be in place. The money was too great. Couldn't miss out. Got it. Don't patronize. Don't sit here and say, oh, but I felt so bad. It's just, we're all sick to our stomachs around here. I mean, I can't even go to the break room and get a cup of coffee without saying to one of my cohorts, can you believe it's such a shame what had to happen to Florida State? It's just terrible. I'm not sleeping well. What about you? So I'd refrain from mentioning it if I were them. It wouldn't come up again. Let's just pretend it didn't happen, because it's all the more insulting every time you sit down at a desk to do an interview and tell everybody, well, I love Florida State. I mean, you ask anybody, I love the Noles. To see them left out of this thing, I really never thought it could happen. But you did mention for weeks on end that it should happen. Well, but we're just talking here. We never. I don't think we did I tell you how sick I am about all of this? I am sick to my stomach.
And did I mention again, I don't have a vote.
No vote. No vote. What they did was solely independent of anything we may have spoken of. No influence whatsoever. Not at all. I got to imagine that's just going to be a weird deal. I think if I were Kirk, I'd fly in with my fake service dog really late to that one.
What are the odds they do it in the stadium and don't allow fans?
That's
you think
100% what I would do if I were them. It is 100% what I would do. Again, it's going to be uncomfortable. Look, hey, listen, all jokes aside, all sarcasm aside, all of it. Look, I don't think the anger you're talking about, if we're just talking about the dollars and cents of it all, Florida State rumored to have missed out on a couple mil here as opposed to what will happen with the Orange Bowl, but also reputationally, and also this was a beloved team. This was a version of Florida State that everybody wrapped their arms around and admired because of all that they had overcome and how quickly they had done that. And then they were dealt severe blows late in the season that are very hard to overcome, like having, your Heisman caliber quarterback get knocked out for the year, and then finding ways to win games against an arch rival on the road, and then perhaps turning in one of the greatest defensive performance in ACC championship game history, and doing all of that because you understood that you had to overcome the elements and aspects of your team that were, that were dealt a blow by those injuries. And they did do that. They did all of the things that you're supposed to do that really illustrate what kind of team you are, how capable you are in the face of that kind of adversity. So this fan base, it's not just that they're Noles. This fan base loves this team, loves these guys, loves this staff, and to be spat upon publicly and then have that influence the way that the committee did their job. Now, first of all, it illustrates and illuminates yet again what a flawed system college football has in determining its postseason. It has always been flawed, in fairness. It has always been a mess. There's never really truly been a proper way to crown a national champion in college football. It's always been dubious. It's one of the aspects of the sport that really pisses me off, and solving it is very difficult. But for years, one of the reasons that I leaned more heavy into the BCS formula as opposed to a committee like this one was because I wanted to remove people's emotions as much as possible. I wanted to get set on agree on some parameters as to how we define our terms. So let's input this, and this. And we can vote and argue about that. We can vote and argue and say, well, how much do you want to put strength of schedule, home and away, margin of victory, whatever it is, however you want to influence how the computer spits out those remaining teams. But I didn't want people in a room. Committees are never really a good thing. It's always dubious. Well, it'll be fascinating to see what they do, though, because the disdain, the frustration, the anger, the angst, the fury over what's occurred will not be something of the past to the degree that people will stand down 9 months from now if given an opportunity to chant what would end up being wildly inappropriate slogans across the TV network ESPN repeatedly over the course of a college game day episode. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A man is currently wanted by Thomasville police on criminal charges, including kidnapping. Kendrick Jackson Jr. is wanted on charges of kidnapping, hijacking a motor vehicle, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He is considered armed and dangerous by officials, so caution is being urged. If you see him, you are asked to call the Thomasville Police Department Criminal Investigations Division at 229-227-3302. 3 students were treated for an overdose after suffering symptoms on a school bus in Levi County on Thursday. The female students between the ages of 15 and 16 began experiencing symptoms as the bus arrived at Chiefland Middle High School. The girls were taken to the campus medical building. Narcan was administered to reverse the effects of opioids on one of the students. Paramedics then gave the medication to a second student. A field test of the drugs came back positive for meth, but it remains unclear what the drugs actually contained. The 3 students were taken to the hospital and are all expected to make a full recovery. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 56 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight, 34. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 59. Dry with temperatures below average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the low 60s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 57.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran and law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The Bonko Lechong, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The Bonko Lechong, Jeff.
Okay, the Bonko Lechong. It's delicious. Everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. FS
moments when you get an opportunity to have fun with family and friends and get together. And that's what this bowling tournament ends up being every year, and it does some good. So I'm looking forward to it tonight, and looking forward to see what all we can do to help the kids of the Guardian ad litem. So a number of rumors that are out there regarding Florida State over the weekend. I hesitate with some of this. Usually if there's something with meat on the bone, I'll address it, or I'll sort of talk about it in the sense that we might have more information that something's coming down the pike. But that is not the case right now as it pertains to Florida State's quest to get out of the ACC. Now, it was always a very public assertion, and Florida State has made it abundantly clear they want to get out. So you can rest assured that every day that goes by, if there's an avenue that helps expedite that, Florida State is exploring it. They've got people doing just that, trying to get the hell out of here, to get out of the ACC. And the latest being, of course, that they would jump to the Big Ten. Well, I said the day after the snub that Florida State could no longer afford to, look at an offer such as that. Let's say you had an offer from the SEC or the Big Ten, and then you kind of wanted to have your cake and eat it too and play one offer off the other to get the most enticing and best offer, right? I didn't feel like Florida State could afford to wait any longer, that the ACC had now been officially relegated to a group of five. With what just happened to the Noles, an undefeated Power 5 conference champion with that schedule and that pedigree being left out of the playoff, they just told you under no uncertain terms, you are in a league that we don't really consider. We just don't consider. We don't, it's not our priority. The SEC is our priority. And of course, for Fox, it's the Big Ten. And and we all do know this, that you got to get out because the disparity of money is such that you will not be competitive long term. We understand that. They already were made aware of it. This might have, I don't know, elevated the level of pressure that one feels behind the scenes to make this happen. But wanting it to happen and making it happen, it's not easy. It's not something that they can just do, or they would have already done it. So you're now, you're viewed in this other realm that isn't going to suit you, and you got to get out. So if you have an offer from the Big Ten and you wanted to go to the SEC, you don't have the luxury of trying to play said Big Ten offer and use it as leverage to get the SEC offer that you want. You got to take it. If you have that offer, you got to take it. You got to go. And if you can announce it, you'd announce it as soon as you possibly could. But I have heard on several occasions over the last year that something was imminent, that something was coming down the pike, that something would be announced sooner rather than later for Florida State. But each time that I heard that, weeks would go by, and I'd reach back out to very credible people and say, well, we got crickets, boys. What's going on? So you can understand why I've been hesitant to say that each of these rumors, and every time it's something that gets our attention because it's of vital importance, but every time there's a rumor or there's one that is addressed or at least referenced in a story about what Florida State may or may not be doing, yeah, we look at it. We try to hash it out. You try to find out if there's anything credible to it. I don't doubt that there are major players behind the scenes that work with FSU, that work for FSU, that have on numerous occasions thought that that avenue was presenting itself, that it was there, that it was something that they could do. But at the end of the day, it's just never gone through. It never actually had legs. So I find ourselves in an interesting position because obviously I look into the same things that you're hearing, and we know that a lot of people think that Florida State's doing everything they can to go to the Big Ten. Well, yeah. And I'm sure that's still the case, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it's imminent, I guess is the better way of telling you that. First of all, if Florida State is going anywhere, let's say Florida State was going to go to the Big Ten. Let's say Florida State was going to go to the SEC, who right now we wouldn't want to partner with. But again, you got to get out of here. I said also that you're going to end up running into the arms of the enemies, whether it's Fox or ESPN. You're going to big football. That's where you got to go. You got to figure out a way, because you're just going to fall further and further behind if you stay here. So we know that one way or the other, that's what we're trying to do. But there's no way that would happen next year. Like that schedule, the 2024 schedule is in place. They're going to play that schedule. So the earliest for anybody that's saying, yeah, well, I'm hearing they're going to do it, and then they're going to announce it, and then they're going to be ready to play Big Ten football next year. No, they're not. Even if they were to announce it and say that that's going to happen and that it's on the horizon, it's about to be, it wouldn't be until at least 2025, maybe 2026. But I will 100% say, I believe this, and they'd have to figure out the money. They'd 100% have to figure out the money, and that's not an easy thing to figure out because we're talking about a lot of money and media rights and all that sort of thing. But if in the Big Ten's already expanding, which we already know, right? Look at all the teams that are joining the Big Ten. So the things you got to look at and monitor are that if Florida State's joining the Big Ten, they're not joining the Big Ten alone. They're going to have to bring somebody to the party. Now, I don't know if that would be Clemson. I don't know if that'd be North Carolina. I don't know if that'd be Miami, Virginia. But you're going to be coupled at least. They're bringing on 4, right? And now they would have to, that gets them to, does that get them to 18? Yeah. So they would have to be, that gets them to 18. So then that would, to me, you'd be adding 2 more. That you would have to add, you'd get it to 20 teams is what you would do if they wanted to do that. And then I think that obviously, you'd want to partner with somebody. We know that Clemson is the most likely candidate. The 2 schools view football that way. And I think they'd be looking to go ahead and, make that happen all at once. The ACC clearly knows. I mean, it's not like they can't know that there are members of their league that feel this is not tenable. I mean, it's been publicly stated. And what did the ACC do? Well, they did what they had to do, whether you thought it was a good move or not. This is any conference that realizes they're on the verge of being extinct must add teams, and that's what they did. That's why you immediately began to hear about the possibility of very odd, geographically anyhow, partners. Stanford, really? Oh, okay. Makes no sense, but come on down. So you knew that they recognized, oh, we're in peril. We're on the verge of not existing. And I still think they're in deep trouble. I still think that when this basketball season ends and a champion is crowned, if you're going to get a major shakeup, I think it may end up starting around that time. The ACC could be in very real trouble there. And I'm fine with that. Let it dissolve. I think Florida State and its officials thought that at one time they may have had what they needed in regards to having enough member institutions aligned with them to get the conference to dissolve. But I also think that ship sailed, and then you saw that they voted to bring in new teams to the conference. Those teams now have a vote. They're never going to vote to do that, right? They're not going. So you're going to end up, you're stuck right now. And now it's a wait and see, and nobody likes a wait and see, especially when you're angry. Speaking of angry, if you bothered, and I don't think you did, so I won't spend a lot of time on it because I understand that, hey, bread's buttered right now with recruiting and transfer portal and rumors about quarterbacks and defensive ends and our rivals and everybody else. But this Saturday, I wanted to enjoy the outdoors a little bit as the weather was shifting. We knew the rain was coming yesterday. So I went over to the hub with my wife, had a cold beer, enjoyed a Philly cheesesteak, kind of walked around, saw people playing with their dogs. I thought, this is great, man. This doesn't suck at all. And I went back inside there, that little area by the farm, by the barn there. And I went in. I wanted to see, we want another beer here? What are we going to watch? You want to watch something? You want to sit outside? Oh, the Noles are playing basketball. That's right. We're playing USF. Huge favorites to beat USF. I can't wait to watch this. Whoo. It's looking a lot like last year, kids. Looking a lot like last year. So I ended up watching this thing get to single digits, 50-41, feeling pretty good. And then USF goes on a 24-7 run to lead 74-48. Keep in mind, that is a USF team that is, not any good. They've already lost to a CMU team that Florida State beat by 27 points. USF came into the game amongst the worst in the NCAA in three-point shooting. Don't you worry, USF. We got you covered. That ended up being them knocking down 52% of their threes. 52%. So we have a bit of an effort disparity on display in this game while I'm sitting there sipping on a beer at the hub, and I'm going, really? You're not gonna play hard? You're lacking in some areas to begin with, but we're just not gonna play hard. Okay. So unless the NCAA is going to grant a waiver to Primo Spears, and I don't know that they're going to. We're still waiting. Who knows when they're going to get around to it. This looks like it's going the way of the last few seasons, which is not good. And Florida State basketball is in position to not matter for the third straight year. And a third straight year without postseason play reminds me of the 4-year run of losing that Steve Robinson did for many of you, maybe before you were born, 99 to 2002. And man, that is not easy to stomach and probably won't be. And I worry about my man Ham, who is a fantastic human being, who's had a great career and a wonderful man, but I got to believe we are on the cusp of change. There's no other way to say it. There's just a lot to dismay about and to despair, I should say, about when in regards to Florida State basketball. It's just not good. They're not good. And I don't know if they quit or not, but when we're questioning effort, you're one step away from questioning whether or not a team is still trying. That's how close you are. I hate saying it. Michael Alford's, we talked about just a moment ago, are you trying to get out of the conference? You're trying to get out of here? You want to be as strong as you possibly can, right? Football program is. We'll see what the baseball team does this year. I know they're going to be a lot better than they were a year ago. I don't know how good. But basketball is the other one, and basketball is the big two in the question of two, right? And it's not good, again. And that doesn't put it doesn't put your best foot forward when you're trying to get out of the damn conference. You'd like to have everything clicking. And I don't see a way out right now because clearly the loss of Dennis Gates and Charlton Young has really hurt this program. There's no getting around that. They were great coaches, and Leonard deserves credit for hiring him and bringing them in and having those guys do what they did. They certainly aided your ability to bring in NBA caliber type players, and that changes the game. We know what basketball is, right? If you're a CEO coach, which there's nothing wrong with that, you've got to have assistants that are able to bring you players. And obviously you got to have guys, you have a game, you have an X's and O's guy, you have another guy who's a recruiting genius, you have another guy, and you reside over all this. It's got to be in place, but it hasn't been since they left. And these are mediocre rosters. They're bad in the backcourt. The game performances are poor. The preparation occasionally doesn't look like it's on par with where we were at. You don't see the motivation. You do see a lack of leadership on the court. Just all of the telltale signs that you're in dire straits. That's all I'll say about FSU basketball for today. But Yeah, it's just it's an ugly deal. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
It's the end of year sale at Pension Penny Pools and Spas. During the month of December, go to our new website, TallahasseeHotSpring.com, and fill out the contact form to receive an instant $1,000 off coupon towards the purchase of a Hot Springs hot tub. But hurry, visit TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. I'm just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we're hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
My first call up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
124th Army-Navy game at Foxborough's Gillette Stadium tomorrow. Army the 3-point favorite over Navy. The NBA tonight, the Orlando Magic laying 11 against the Detroit Pistons, who have dropped 18 consecutive games. 228.5 the total at the Amway Center. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a 3-point road dog of the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, 31.5 the total at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Cleveland has won 8 consecutive matchups against teams from the AFC South, and Cleveland has covered 5 of their last 6 games at home. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
It's Macy's one-day sale now with great deals of the day on gifts we love, like 60 to 65% off warm and stylish coats for everyone, 35 to 70% off fine jewelry she'll adore, and 75% off holiday decor for a cozy, welcoming home. Best of all, everyone gets $10 Macy's money for every $50 spent. Learn more at Macy's.com/Macy's money. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Wendy's Peppermint Frosty and Frosty Cream Cold Brew make the perfect gift for anyone in your life, especially for you. Yeah, this year you're sitting on your own lap and getting yourself what you want. Finally. And now every day this season, unlock 20% off your total when you get any small, medium, or large Frosty in the Wendy's app. So order something from your own wish list this year.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's with app offer and registration. Applies to menu items only. Taxes and fees excluded.
This is Jamie McClenny with Trek Financial in Tallahassee. While domestic equities closed down for the third consecutive month at the end of October, valuations remain near historic highs based on most historic metrics. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges you will face in retirement. While you can't control performance, you can control the risk in your portfolio. Markets are going to do what markets are going to do, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. Valuations remain near historic highs based on most historic metrics. If you're concerned where this might be headed, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a risk-focused portfolio review. Or you can visit us on our website at trektlh.com. That's trektlh.com.
Make Jamie your first call for that second opinion. Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. I'm Greg Tisch, and I want to share one of my favorite TCC alumni stories. It's been almost 30 years since Charlie Ward led the 1993 FSU football team to its first national championship, won the Heisman, and became the first Heisman winner to play in the NBA. But did you know, like thousands of students before and since, he started his college career at TCC? We are proud to call Charlie Ward one of our own. Today, he serves on the TCC District Board of Trustees, so you might even get to see him around campus.
TCC thanks our community for 58 years of support. We look forward to moving into the future together.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4.
People are out of town listening to the show. I understand all of that. If you want to be able to help out, you still can. Tonight, we will bowl. We will do so in order to get gift cards and gifts and stuff of the like for the children of the Guardian Ad Litem. We do it every year. It is always fun. We will be bowling at District 850. We want to thank them for housing us. And I want to thank all of you guys who signed up, got a team in there. And then anybody who wants to help, if you're in town, you're listening to me, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you're driving about Tallahassee, feel free to swing by District 850. They've got a place set up there where you can drop off the toys if you want, or if you'd like, you can give a gift card and they will house that as well. And then we'll collect all that for this evening. It's at 7:00. So if you're thinking about it and you want to do something, please feel free to do so. We appreciate it. Even if you're not participating, even if you can't stick around, even whatever it might be, anything you can give certainly helps out. We appreciate that. Later in the week, we'll have another announcement regarding the show specifically where you can join us and give on YouTube there, and it goes directly to the Guardian Ad Litem. So 2 ways for us to help this year. Very excited about that. It was a busy weekend recapping. It just talked about it a little bit, of course, with Florida State on the recruiting trail. We're looking to see if they can secure the KJ Boldens of the world and then also bring in guys that are committed elsewhere, guys that are verbally committed elsewhere, like Jeremiah Smith, who big-time push for Jeremiah Smith this past weekend, obviously in town for the state high school football championships along with LJ McCray. And you get opportunities one last time. We're down to the nitty-gritty here, and Florida State stands pretty strong right now. Now, I don't know if they'll get one or both of those 2 young men. But I do know that the Jeremiah Smith visit this weekend went very well. And I know that Edwin Joseph and Keon Coleman spending time with him. I talked about it in hour 1, the emphasis being on what it's like to be a player here, kind of illustrating for him sort of the camaraderie that is here, what's expected of you, and, just getting a sense of what it would be to be a Nole in this locker room with these guys, with this sense of commitment, with this sense of what they expect of you. And I like that Mike, and he continues to do this. You're not going to change who you are, and you shouldn't. We'll continue to challenge guys. It's not just, hey, we really need you and we're fawning over you and you're a great player and we all recognize that. You know that by now. You're the number 1 ranked recruit in the country, but also I'm going to challenge you to make you better. I'm going to challenge you to be responsible, to do something, and to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And so we'll see. We'll see. At the end of the day, it's always hard when you're talking about trying to predict recruiting because we're dealing with kids and the whims of emotion. I said that as far as the portal goes and as far as recruiting goes, big picture, Florida State's in a good spot right now. They are, because they have a lot of verbals from very talented kids, and they have a top 5 class as we speak, and they're also a destination place, landing spot for portal players. And there are a lot of really, really big names out there and talented players out there that either publicly or sort of underneath the radar are inquiring about Florida State. And I get all of that. So it's fascinating to watch this play out, and the work that has to be done for these coaches as to whether a guy is perfect for your locker room as well as being a talent on the field. There's just a ton going into that. And you're also playing defense in the case of a lot of kids. I mean, you have an elite class. Well, those kids are obviously challenged all the time, and coaches are trying to force get their arms out there to protect themselves from kids being poached, all that kind of thing. And you got to play the game right up to the hilt, right up to the end. And no doubt they're doing that with players like KJ Bolden, who obviously Auburn wants, Georgia wants. Interesting, Auburn was the team a year ago, and I'll bring it up again now. When you're trying to rebuild a program and you're desperate to do so, and you have some hard-hitting boosters and people that like to see Auburn football back amongst the SEC's elite, they're the team that you kind of look for. You kind of watch out for, right? Because they're willing to be irresponsible. They can do so legally now, too. But they're willing to be irresponsible. That's who you really look at. Look, trying to fend Georgia off or Alabama off is very difficult. Trying to keep those juggernaut programs away from your players is a hell of a fight. But it's a fight you got to win more often than not if you want to be at their level. If you want to, once again, be elite to the point where ain't nobody arguing about whether or not you're going to the playoff. So if you want to be that, you're going to have to fight that off. You're going to have to fight off your rivals in the state, of course, too. But it's always the desperate school, typically in this case, because of the footprint we're in. It's going to be an SEC school. You're not overly worried that Wake Forest is going to come swooping in. I mean, you're worried about an Auburn or somebody like that. And Auburn makes a lot of sense because they have a desperation, a want, and a means to go out and get a few guys that will be, a splash signing, something that would resonate on signing day, something that might create the illusion of real momentum. They understand that you have to start winning some of those battles, and I think they're willing to go above and beyond. A lot of the schools that Florida State is competing against for the services of these players and are willing to maybe make a splash in a way that would see you back down. Because, again, you're in a better spot, and you're looking bigger picture, and you understand that, all right, that's a player, but we need these two and this guy and here, and you know what? If they're going to do that and blow up the market for them, then fine. As for the quarterback rumors, a lot of you asked me maybe last hour, is Cam Ward a guy that, could get a visit here in Tallahassee and a conversation started? Now, let me say this. There are, and I checked with folks that would know, there are crazy numbers associated with the wooing of Cam Ward from Washington State, who this weekend, he graduated from Washington State. So he wasn't going to be here this weekend or anywhere else. He was graduating there. That guy it would be a great get. First of all, if Florida State could get him, wow. Not only because I think he's a really good player and he's a perfect fit, it's a one-year bridge and it makes a lot of sense. Also, I think he would influence a lot of players out there and the decisions that they want to make regarding where they go to. But you're hearing numbers that make zero sense. I mean, I heard a number associated with him that was over $2 million. Good luck. I mean, we're not going to pay somebody $2 million. I don't. That's not going to happen. Now, I don't think they have to either. And I don't think those numbers are accurate. And that's what I wanted to get to. Because this is all new and there's a lot of misinformation and half-truths that surround the larger discussion of what NIL is and what collectives like the Battles End do and how they operate and what players can command in the open market, I think it makes sense that those numbers would be inflated, especially, on the internet where you would hear a bunch of people say, well, I heard. You heard what? Well, I heard this guy got $3 million. No, he didn't. Now, there are exceptions. There are outliers. There are some guys, if they're going to like a, I'll give you Caleb Williams or somebody like that could go into a USC, but he might have got a lot of money. Might have. Makes some sense. But it is really rare. Most of these collectives are not paying. Most of these schools are just not going to pay guys $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million. They're not. You'll hear that, and you'll hear fan bases say it, and you'll hear people on message boards say it, and on Twitter and everywhere else. Hey, you know what? I heard so-and-so asked for $900,000. I heard so-and-so won $1.9 million. Also, the other reason for that is kids lie. Kids lie about what they're getting. They all do. You know how kids operate. It's a look at me, and they don't want to be embarrassed. They hear that one of their cohorts say that they made this much money. They're not going to announce that you're making half that. Like, I heard so-and-so at Michigan got $6 million. No, he didn't. But if a kid hears that and he plays the same position and he can't get anything close to that, he's not going to tell everybody that he got $100,000. So that adds to the misinformation that's out there. The numbers that you hear about are usually inflated, in some cases greatly inflated, significantly inflated. Now, there's good money to be had out there. I'll tell you this, I was, one of the things we did not talk about when Jordan Travis broke his leg, we were too obviously caught up in the sadness of everything that happened and caught up in, the repercussions of that and how bad we felt for him. And the aftermath of that was tough to wrap your mind around. But, about 24 hours later, I did think to myself, I'm really, really happy that Jordan Travis, a kid like that, who persevered, who worked hard, who ended up becoming a much better player than I certainly thought he would ever become at that position, and a guy that really was emblematic of Florida State's turnaround. I was so happy to know that he did very well in the NIL, that Jordan Travis was one of those guys that did very well. The Battle's End took care of him. And he's got if he never plays pro football or it never works out for him, then Jordan's got a good jumping off point. He's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. And that's where you see it work. That's when you're like, okay, good. So-and-so, and I'm just going to make up some numbers here. So-and-so got 300,000, so-and-so got 500,000. Good. It's a good place. In some cases, they're your quintessential elite college football players that in some cases are tweeners, right? They just don't make up that crazy 1% of the freaks on this earth that can play the NFL. Not everybody can. Not everybody has the measurable or the preternatural gifts of a Lamar Jackson or Joey Bosa or whoever you want to look at, right? Where you just see freaks and you go, what in the world is that? But they could be very good college football players, and they could be handsomely rewarded for their hard work, dedication, success at one place. That's good that we're at that place. I was happy to see that happened for him. Now, back to the discussion at hand. Florida State's in a good position. I don't know if they're going to get Cam Ward to come down here. It would be great. But if those numbers are anywhere close to being true, what he's asking for, then don't expect him to be here. There are still persistent rumors. I'll just throw this out here again. It is very persistent, in fact, that DJ Uiagalelei may, in fact, be visiting Florida State in the not-too-distant future here. I think that when we look at Cam Ward and we see the player that he is and what we think possible with him, that's where you'd side if you had your druthers. But depending on the number, a one-year bridge, okay, maybe. That recruitment in the portal of a quarterback informs kind of the rest of what you're going to do. Who you're going to be able to bring in, how much money you're going to have, what's possible for defensive linemen, defensive ends, linebackers, you name it. I should make mention, and we'll be talking to him pretty shortly, but I don't know if you've read it yet. But if you haven't, I want to remind you here in case I forget. Go to warchant.com and read the article, Leap of Faith, Why Florida State's CJ Campbell is Betting on Himself One More Time. It's a long-form article, and it's Ira at his best, and it's a really good piece. And I will tell you that I already like CJ Campbell. You'll like him, too. You'll really like him if you read that article. In fact, do so. Do yourself a favor. Read that article. It's a few days old now, but it's really, really good. It's called Leap of Faith, Why Florida State's CJ Campbell is Betting on Himself One More Time. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Chant TV.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Warning. The following Zaxby's ad may contain messaging upsetting to Philadelphians. Zaxby's took the iconic Philly sandwich, the quote-unquote perfect Philly sandwich, and made it perfecter by putting fried chicken on it. That's right, fried chicken on a Philly. And while Philadelphia might find it offensive, you can find it at your local Zaxby's. Finally, the Philly done right. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
I'm Robert, and I'm a general pest technician at Paul's Termite.
I have a fantastic job working for an amazing company. Every day, I take great satisfaction in knowing the work I do helps protect the health of the customers I'm honored to serve and their pets too. Many are now my friends. Paul's is a local North Florida-based company, and they are constantly teaching all of us techs about the ever-changing needs of our unique part of the world.
I'm Jay, and having the privilege to work with people like Robert and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
The perfect gift under the tree this year is a new spa or hot tub from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. There's nothing like resting your jolly old soul in the spa after a long, stressful day. And it's the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Heat up your holiday with the end-of-year sale going on now at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. During the month of December, go to our new website, TallahasseeHotSpring.com, and fill out the contact form to receive an instant $1,000 off coupon towards the purchase of a Hot Springs hot tub. Get in touch now before this deal ends. Also, take advantage of up to $6,200 off select High Life models and get a free accessory with the purchase of your new hot spring spa with affordable financing for qualified buyers. Come see Cameron. Visit TallahasseeHotSpring.com or check us out on Facebook or Instagram. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com. Coupon cannot be combined with any other offer. Come see us for the end of year sale. Happy holidays.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary.
Including my Bucks, who win. They won yesterday, and I was like, damn it. What are you doing? The immediate retort from Baker Mayfield and the rest of the Buccaneers. Sorry, Jeff, we're trying to win this sorry-ass division. We are in first place at 6-7. Flags fly forever, sir. We will take another division championship and fly it high from Raymond James as you walk in. We won't have the record next to it. It'll just be the year. When they go 8-9 and win the NFC South, it'll just say 2023 NFC South champions. That's all you're going to get. I was in-game betting about 6 different games yesterday. It was so perfect. If you are a sporting guy or gal, man, in-game betting the NFL is easy money right now. There are so many bad quarterbacks in that league, just everywhere you look.
Like, okay, we're gonna go. Oh, I think I see where this is headed. I'm gonna pound the under for the next 2 quarters until they figure it out, because I was watching that Minnesota Las Vegas Raiders game, and at 0-0 midway through the second quarter, I said, "We ain't getting there, kids. Let's go, let's go." And then I took a flyer on the Raiders plus 3.5 and went, "Thank you very much. Got it by the hook, baby." Little 3-0 action. I have never rooted so hard for a nothing game in the NFL in all my life. And here's why. I know the last time there was a game that was this low scoring was in 2007. And it was that Dolphins game. And it was because the weather was hideous. It was outdoors and the weather was awful. And you could barely play a football game. This was perfect conditions indoors, 72 degrees, nothing wrong. There's no element to deal with. That's just straight up sorry-ass football is all that is. And the story of the year in the NFL for like 4 weeks was Josh Dobbs, who they benched in the middle of that game yesterday. Like, okay, Josh, it was a nice story. You suck. Let me see what that Nick Mullins can do for us. This is also a league, I might add, that is routinely surprises me when I find out that somebody else is still in the league. How many times are you watching a game like, wait a minute, that guy's still in the league? I thought he was out of the league 4 years ago. He's a starter somewhere? It's nuts. But, I mean, look at Joe Flacco. Just throwing it around the lot yesterday. And I'm reminded, Tom loves him some Joe Flacco. I'm reminded that Flacco throws one of the most beautiful footballs to ever be tossed by anybody in the history of the game. That first touchdown pass he threw yesterday in Cleveland's 31-27 win over the Jags, it's just this little flick, this little back foot sort of, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I've watched it like 6 times. I don't even care about either one of those teams. But that doesn't go away. That's a big, strong dude, and all of a sudden Cleveland looks like they could make the playoffs. Detroit fell on their face. Jared Goff still can't win on the road. Zach Wilson somehow went nuts in a 30-6 win over the Texans. What in the world is going on there? That's a 5-game losing streak that snapped. And then you have Patrick Mahomes crying because Kadarius Toney does stupid things like line up 1.5 to 2 yards in front of the football. Let's talk to Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Let's do it now. It's a busy time. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm well. I told everybody a moment ago before you came on that I really, really enjoyed your article on C.J. Campbell, man. Good stuff.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not a lot of people write 3,000-word features on walk-ons. Even fewer people do it on players who've gone in the portal. But this is your guy. I'm a little bit different.
I loved it. I didn't know what I was going to get into. I saw the article and I went, I'm going to read this. And then I was like, man, this is a reminder that Ira's a really good writer. And B, it's a long form article. And then I already like CJ Campbell, but man, you can't do anything but love that kid after reading that article. What he's been through. I mean, whether he goes on to wherever he goes or if he comes back here, I don't know, whatever it might be, you got to root for that kid forever.
Yeah, there's no question. And I mean, he's obviously highly intelligent. And like you said, he's been beloved by players and coaches and fans since he's been here. But the off the field stuff is pretty remarkable. The adversity he faced from a young age, and being put in the foster system, and having some bad experiences, and just not having a lot of stability in his life. That's probably going to send you one of two ways. Probably more often than not, it sends you the wrong way. But he's a guy that just channeled all of that into being as productive as possible and singularly focused. And, I think it's interesting. It kind of brings it full circle with him going in the portal because, he loves Florida State. He says that repeatedly in the article, loves his teammates. I mean, when he talks about his teammates, it's like almost like he can't express how much he loves his teammates. But he also believes in himself as a running back. He looks at that room and says, I want to play. I know I can play at this level. And so he's trying it out. And he had an official visit to FAU over the weekend, which is great for him. And so we'll see how it works out. But no, I'm with you. I think everybody should be pulling for C.J. Campbell.
So what's the latest that we're hearing in regards to, I talked some in the first hour about this. Obviously, it was a huge weekend with Jeremiah Smith being here and, LJ McCray in town and all that kind of stuff. We know we get, with LJ another opportunity, but I'm just kind of curious to see, and they're trying to fight off Georgia and Auburn for KJ Bolden. What's the sense you get about where Florida State's at right now, other than being extremely busy trying to hold on to a class that's top 4 and secure those portal kids that we've all seen jump in?
Yeah, I mean, they're great problems to have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go out and land the kind of players that Florida State did and expect everybody to just go away and just kind of, oh, well, Florida State's got them. So, KJ Bolden is getting a real major push from Auburn and Georgia. Armando Blunt, the 5-star defensive lineman who flipped from Miami to Florida State, is being courted heavily again by Miami, as you'd expect. And it sounds like from what Michael reported, Charles Lester's even had schools pushing in him late as well. So that's going to be a challenge, is to keep all those guys. I think, you'd like to think that they're going to be able to do that. They've held them this long. But as we've seen, you never know until signing day. And then, Jeremiah Smith is obviously the biggest target still out there, and he's committed to Ohio State. And it depends on who you talk to. There's a lot of confident people around Florida State. I've actually talked to the media that cover other schools who think he's going to flip to Florida State. But until that happens, until you can wrestle him away from Brian Hartline in Ohio State, it's just hard to be confident about it because of their track record with receivers. But again, these are all great problems to have.
Never know what to believe anymore, but I do know this one consistent thing that has gone down here for Florida State because of the 19 straight wins and the flip of the culture. And we do see that one way or the other, they're going to have an elite class that, I'm hearing over and over again, Ira, and I'm sure you are too. Florida State has to be very, very patient, because whether they're publicly saying this on their social media accounts or not, there are a lot of kids that would be interested in Florida State if Florida State were interested in them. That's sort of I don't want to say anything. I don't want to go out there and put it on my Twitter account, but if there's a landing spot for me, and that's when we talk about having good problems, right? When you've got a kid, and I'm going to make it up, but you got a kid at, say, Texas or Michigan or Ohio State or whatever saying, I'd like to play at Florida State. I just don't know if there's any interest reciprocating. That's a good problem to have, because it's not just the kids that are all publicly trying to get leverage by using social media accounts. It's a whole bunch of other kids who want to be very careful about it, and Florida State is a destination now.
Yeah, and why wouldn't it be?
Of course.
The only knock at all right now is obviously them not getting in the playoff, but everybody knows that the playoff's going to change next year. It'll be 12 teams. So if the situation was the same, Florida State would get in. But when you look at the criteria that players are looking at, it used to be, probably the biggest factors were, can you develop me as a player? Can you help me get to the NFL? Maybe do you have the major I want? Does it fit geographically? Is it part of the country I want to be on? Are you going to get me exposure and all those things? Well, Florida State checks all those boxes in a big way. I mean, the way they've developed players the last couple of years is really remarkable. I just posted a piece at warchant.com about the 10 most pleasant surprises. And these are all guys who've been in the program and in their senior year took really big jumps, really showed great improvements. So that's the development piece. And then you've got the battle's end and the NIL piece, where they've been very competitive in that space as well. So really, there's not a lot to not like about Florida State. And then it just comes down to, what values are people putting on themselves? What does the need look like for Florida State, and whether or not all that matches.
So do we guess that College Game Day will be inside Aviva Stadium, sir, or not? Right? There's no chance that is an outdoor venue for them other than inside Aviva, right?
Remember when we made our trip over there, we were talking to the security folks.
Yeah,
and I remember asking, are soccer fans the most? Who are the worst to deal with? I think Florida State fans may throw their hat in the ring when we go up. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how Florida State staff and coaches and deal with the game day crew. It's just going to be. I thought even late in the season they had Mike Norvell on one time, and Herb Street was interviewing him, and I felt like maybe there's a little bit of tension there, where I think Norvell was aware of some of the things Herb Street was saying when he wasn't on the camera, and I can't even imagine right now.
Buddy, Ira, I have said this before. Like, look, man, I get it. These guys are unbelievably professional, meaning Norvell and staff and college coaches. You pointed this out before. They can be mad about what a talking head says, but they also understand the PR game, and they know that game day, no matter how much we loathe them currently, has the brightest spotlight for any program. And they bring the most amount of eyes and attention to your program when it's going well or going poorly. But given what just transpired, and that it was unprecedented, I can't imagine you sit cordially across from somebody in your office who created that narrative and beat that drum for weeks on end and really provide any sort of professionalism or kindness, right? I mean, how difficult would that be? I don't think I could do it.
I'm going to go in assuming that Mike Norvell's a better person than me or you, a more professional person than me or you. Yeah. I'm going to assume he's going to figure out a way to do it. But, dude, I have no idea. I would bite a hole through my lip trying to sit there and act cordial. And you're right. It's in his best interest to do that whenever that opportunity comes up. We know it will come at some point. And, it's not going to make him look better by being difficult to deal with or being acerbic or anything like that. But he's a human being, and he knows that they just screwed over his entire football team from the best season any of them will ever have in their lives, including the coaches possibly. And, how do you just move past that? So I'm sure he'll figure out a way, man, but I don't know how he could do it.
It'd be one-word answers, man. Yep. Nope. Yep, he's a good player. Thanks. Have a good one, Kirk. Yeah, I don't think there's any other way, because that's the other part of this. He loves those kids. It's not like you get passed over at a job and you have to find a way to get along with the person who got the gig or get along with the boss that made the choice. This is very different. Like, he loves those kids. And
think about this last 12 months. He's been so many of those guys, either he's gotten convinced to stay at Florida State or he's brought them into Florida State and pushed them so hard at practice and in workouts, and they've done everything these coaches have asked them to do. And then you sit there in that room and you let ESPN film it while they just completely crap on you and tell you you're not worthy of being in this game. And now you've got to turn around and get these guys ready for a bowl game or the next season. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation to be put in. And I don't know what this team's going to look like December 30th in South Florida. But if they're even competitive, I think it will be an impressive feat.
I'll spare you from talking about basketball. We can push that to the back burner for a very long time if we need to, sir. I will talk to you later, brother. Be good.
Sounds good, Jeff. Thanks.
All right, take care. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. That article I referenced at the start of the conversation here that I also talked about last hour is a must read. I thought he did a great job on that, but it's also just a cool story. And that's a hell of a kid right there, CJ Campbell. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare expanded its services by opening a brand new urgent care center Friday morning. The facility is located on West Tennessee Street and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It includes 4 patient exam rooms, 1 procedure room, and a diagnostic area for x-rays and labs. This is TMH's 3rd urgent care center in Leon County, with 1 on the main hospital campus and another in Southwood. In June, TMH announced a 4th urgent care center will be built in Crawfordville. The West Tennessee facility is open for all Tallahassee residents every day from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. As temperatures drop into the 30s, the Kearney Center is opening its overnight cold weather shelter again for tonight. The shelter opens when temperatures are at or below 35 degrees. Intake for both nights is between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. Guests will have a warm place to stay overnight, along with a shower and a hot meal. Dinner is served until 7 p.m. Transportation to the shelter is available through Star Metro. People are asked to bring essential items only as space is limited. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 56 this afternoon. Under sunny skies, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight, 34. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 59. Dry with temperatures below average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the low 60s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 57.
It's holiday shopping season, and as usual, there's a lot of new Apple gear out there. But before you buy that Apple Watch or new iPhone, stop by Mac & More Systems. The experts at Mac & More will help you make the right decisions to ensure all of your devices work together properly. That Apple Watch might not work with the previous generation iPhone, and there is no one I trust more for advice, sales, and support for all of my Apple devices more than Mac & More Systems. Call them today, 894-3622, or visit them online at macandmoresystems.com.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news.
And that came out. I was not born yet, just so you know. I saw the look on your face.
Uh-huh.
I was not born yet. But what a moment in time. We were all the better for it. That Keith sat down and went, here, what do you guys think of this? I think that is badass is what I think that is. What's up, Tom Lang? I see you in there. We're going to bring him up right now. Made his way back to good old Tallahassee. Hopefully the house is intact and everything's good. Looks
things
like
are, yeah, things are good. A couple of branches strewn about the front yard. You would not have handled the 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. window that I was in very well today.
No.
TSA, 30 people, 1 hour. 30 people.
1 hour. That's a toughie.
They flagged, I counted, 18 out of 20 bags they flagged. And most everybody was just kind of ushered along their way. No issue with the bag, but yeah. So
well,
we're here.
18 out of 20. That's a toughie. Like,
that's a lot of bags. And there was only one person saying, is this yours? And they took their time with everything.
So on my way back from Ireland, and I was reminded of this over the weekend with a cruel text from our cohort. Aslan texted me and Ira that, he was dealing with a sore throat and that the Irish honey that he brought back is really something for a cold and to ease a sore throat. Of course, he texted that knowing that they absconded with my Irish honey that I got, but somehow did not flag his. So we went to two different security personnel, and there I was, and it was all packed neatly. And they said, "Oh, no, we're gonna have to take this out." I was like, "It's honey. It's Irish honey. What do we? It's right. No, it's too big." And it was a gift from my wife, and I didn't get any. And then he was utilizing his Irish honey over the weekend to soothe his sore throat. I'm still a little pissed.
Sounds like it's going around the Warchant staff a little bit. Ira's on the mend, but you can hear that there's still a little bit to go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was that road trip home on the Sunday from hell a week ago, and it was just sadness and germs were spread.
Just infiltrated, but there's no sadness tonight, sir. When we bowl at District 850, and I said earlier in the show that I no longer venture to guess a score or anything like that. Like, I'm done setting expectations. And, instead I just went, we're going to have fun. We'll raise a lot of money for charity, and we'll get a lot of gifts for the kids of the Guardian Ad Litem is what I should say, and gift cards and the like, and that's fine. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. And that's fine. And if I roll a good number, everybody will hear about it tomorrow.
Yeah, everybody will hear about it tomorrow. Last year, I was unable to beat the clock. But I had a game going before the place was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in the 8th frame, and it was on pace to be something like a 185, which would have been, for me, a spectacular moment. So I'm going to try and finish that issue and clear 150, because it's been a minute at this tournament since I've cleared 150. I once had the old frequencies staff record until you broke it that one time.
Yeah. No, and I was on the cusp of greatness that day when somebody just decided to wait me out, stand on the line like an ass.
That's correct. Yeah.
For 2.5 minutes. Like, what are we doing here? All rhythm was vacated in the moment. Yeah, I failed, though. I wasn't mentally strong enough. Don't bowl enough, I guess. But
that was the McCracken bowling ball.
Oh, it's right. I still have the McCracken bowling ball. I still have the rose inside, and it was given to me by a guy who makes bowling balls, who was once on the FSU bowling team many moons ago, and learned of our efforts and over the years and sent it to me, and I still have it. And I have kind of retired that ball. It's in a spot in the house. I should put that behind me whenever we're doing StreamYard events and have the McCracken behind me. People will know. They'll know. It was always one of my favorite pieces, because he told me right off the bat, no, if you guys keep doing this, I will get you that bowling ball. And he came through. So it's one of my cherished items of the day. No, good chance. Again, I also was letting everybody know earlier, and then we'll move back onto the sports here, that we're probably going to be doing a show later this week as well for people who aren't here and can't maybe swing by tonight or don't have the means to do so this week, but maybe later in the week they do, whatever it might be, scheduling wise. I think we're going to do a show this week like we've done in the past, where we were able to get relief for after the hurricane, and we've had a couple of good moments like that because the people always show up and they always do the right thing.
Yeah, we talked about that late last week, that we can share the information and verify for you, exactly where they are in terms of GuideStar, which is a great third-party service that verifies charities. So if there's anybody out there that says, all right, it's a local institution, like we've given to the American Red Cross before, and that might be, if you're Troy, you're in the high country, and you're saying, well, what is this? It's the Guardian Ad Litem Second Circuit / Child Advocates 2. That's going to be how it is listed probably during the live show. But the great thing about giving shows is the money goes directly from your donation into the bank account of the charity itself. Can't wait to do that a little bit later this week.
Our Bucks get the win, buddy. Just gonna go home and take the NFC South. I won 3 of the 5 games that I had different with Mom. I should have just taken the Bucks as they rallied to get the win, or else I would have won 4 of 5. But yeah, so we're gonna hang that banner, NFC South champs.
He's Baker is like the 3-point shooter who just will never stop. He's got no soul. He probably should have thrown 3 interceptions down the stretch, and then he also should have hit 2 or 3 wide open receivers, Mike Evans being one of them. Mike looked like he was about to weep. He was open on a deep corner, and he's like, my man, for the love of God.
I wanted to say to Mike, just let it go. Pretend he hit you right in the hands and you dropped it like you do at least once a game. It's all right.
But then Baker keeps on shooting, and Baker keeps on taking more chances.
And then he makes that dart.
There's the throw to Godwin where you're like, oh, well, we're going to win this football game. And now you have to go to a place that you don't want to go as a Bucs fan, where you say, if we didn't blow more than a field goal lead to Stroud with like 10 seconds to go, we'd have this thing on ice already.
We're going to get blown out in the playoffs. We have no business being in the playoffs. Nobody from the NFC South does. Every win is a lesser draft pick, and yet I'm kind of chuckling at this point, because now I'm like, well, go ahead and win the division. So you've screwed around enough to where we're only going to get middling draft pick. Just win the division. They don't take it away from you. You get credit for it.
We have both Carolina games left, right? I think we do.
No, we almost lost to Carolina last week.
Oh, okay. So there's one more though. There's one more.
This is I don't know if there is or not. I can't remember who we have left. I just know we stink, and I know we won the tiebreakers over the Saints and the Falcons now. So if we finish sub 500, and everybody does in the NFC South, there you go. Then all of a sudden, that's where you're going to be division champions, and you're going to lose in the playoffs, and that's fine. But hey, we'll take it. I might get that shirt, Tom Lang. I might get that shirt. But I thought of you yesterday as a live wagering went on. How about your man Joe Flacco out here slinging it, looking beautiful?
I heard you talking about him. Yeah, man. He calms you down even with his pre-snap cadence. Ready?
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah.
Smooth Joe Flacco. Smooth Joe Flacco coming to the party.
It's still a gorgeous ball, though. Every time you see it released, you're like, look at that thing, that tight-ass spiral. If you give him time, my man is magnificent. It was like twice just lasers.
Well, and I think he's costing Cleveland less than Cam Ward wants on the open market. I mean,
that's the rumor.
That's what's crazy here is, Deshaun gets the largest guaranteed contract in NFL history at the time that he signs it with the Browns, which is in pure defiance of what was coming from the NFL itself. And then you're paying Joe Flacco Cam Ward money. Joe's playing well.
And Joe's just like laughing, smiling, having a good time. Like, I get to do this again. I was out of the game. I was throwing the football with my brother. I told him one day, I think I could still do this. Got back in the league. And now Cleveland fans are like, yes, stability at the quarterback position in the form of Joe Flacco. We're set. It's great. But he does throw a beautiful football. The NFL is weird right now, but it's a chance to make a lot of money because these in-game wagers are the best. Just sitting there over and over and over again, pounding the under, just flip around at every backup or should be backup quarterback in that league and just sit there and go, oh, they can't score. They'll be playing for hours and they won't score. They're not going to score. It's terrible weather here. This is the time of year where it's an ATM. You just watch the game in the first quarter and it'll tell you everything you need to know regarding the over or the under.
The one cautionary tale, because Jets-Texans was 0-0 at the half and they hit 36. For the game. So
how were we supposed to know Zach Wilson was going to become Joe Montana in the second half? Just throw it around.
I'm just saying, in case somebody takes this hint and runs to the bank with it, Zach Wilson yesterday would have ruined your account because he found himself for 2 quarters of football.
I found the Raiders-Vikings in the nick of time. Midway through the second quarter, I watched carefully, and it was abundantly clear neither could move the ball if there were nobody across from them. And I said, oh, we are in luck because Jefferson got hurt. And I was like, okay, this is it. There's nobody on the field worth a damn. Nobody's going to move it. So I took the Raiders plus 3.5, got that half-point cover, and I pounded the under every time. I was like, here you go. Because the way that works for people is if a team gets the ball in the red zone at all, the number dramatically shifts. And that's when you can really take advantage of the gullibility there. You're like, oh, really? You think they're now going to score 28 points in the next quarter and a half because somebody has the ball at the 19? I don't think so, pal. And I just kept going. I was loving it. And then there would be stupid penalties because they're incompetent. This is a weird deal, what's going on in the NFL right now. All of the fans, first of all, you feel yourself attracted to it because unlike what just happened to Florida State with the committee, they are going to solve this on the field. Now, the product may suck, and the games may be 16-10, and you may see a lot of bad quarterback play, but they are playing the games. They're going to play them, and then they'll play in the playoffs, and somebody will beat somebody and earn their way to the next round, and they'll keep playing. And there's enough sneaky, really good teams and interesting teams that you're like, okay, well, on the high end, I still kind of care about watching Josh Allen in Buffalo. It's interesting now Patrick Mahomes being a whiny, and he's all upset because they're struggling to move the ball because their offense is average because they don't have receivers. And then you watch what Philadelphia looks tired. Dallas is actually really, really good. San Francisco is probably the best team in football. So you have all these storylines. And then you've got this over here, all these teams that are kind of, that's like a 9-win team. That's an 8-win team. That's a 10-win team. That's a 7-win team. They're all the same. And you can just stack. I mean, you can stack the odds in your favor in the middle of the first quarter once you watch the line of scrimmage. In-game betting, everybody, this is where it's at.
Well, and also you're getting to the point of the year where the NFL says, to hell with Saturdays in college. It's ours now. So you're going to get multi-day weekends. There's a weird Monday night concurrent doubleheader of sorts. It's a strange... Right. You had 2 games in the 8:15 window. That's really good for us at the bowling alley so that we can have, because they got those big screens at District 850 at the end of the lanes. That'll be great. It's kind of strange they didn't stagger those starts. Maybe one at 7, one at 8:30, something along those lines. But Saturday football, they love to run it up on the holidays now. That used to be the NBA's territory. The NFL says double birds to you.
Yeah, we'll take all of it.
We're playing Christmas Eve games. We're playing Christmas Day games. Yeah, man, this is a very, very nice part of the year. it's just always so weird because the crescendos around New Year's for the NFL regular season no longer. They do extend it beyond New Year's, or you still have one more regular season game to go.
I never thought I'd see the day that the NFL would be like, yeah, Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving, you name it, we'll play on every single holiday, and Walmart would tell its employees they have the day off. What is going on here? Walmart closing, having a heart and a soul, and allowing employees to spend time with their family, which is nonsense. Put those people to work. And the NFL just steady play. You can tell I tried to go to Walmart on Christmas Eve, or not. I mean, not Christmas Eve. But,
whose gift did you forget? Who are you buying for?
No, it was Thanksgiving. I was trying to run up there last second. Like I needed whipped cream, and I got screwed out of whipped cream because everybody wanted to be nice to their employees.
Yeah, every time that they the league breaks it to the players' union that they got to play on another holiday, it's just a video from Scott Hansen. Hey, everybody, wanted to let you know something. You thought you had a day off? You don't.
Oh, man. All right. Glad you're back in town, sir. I'll see you in a little while over there at the bowling alley. Good times and good work out of you, director.
Go get you some Zaxby's.
Yeah. Go get you some Zaxby's indeed. In fact, platters, delicious platters are perfect for bowling. Go get you at any one of the 78 Zaxby's in town here in Tallahassee these days. And don't forget, when you do that, you're supporting an 18-plus year Golden Chief. That's right. Support the people that support us, Zaxby's. Good work, director. Good work, Tom. Be good, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.